Yes, hi, hello, fucking hell, it's been a while. Hey, this is the Gooncast. How y'all doing?
Oh, you fucking... Every time we watch one movie with an accent, we gotta try and do this shite.
Huh? What's up,
You're all
everybody?
fur coat and no trousers.
I'm sorry, we've been busy. Our parents were hit by a bread van.
Yeah. No, we were scared by that hen around the corner.
Yeah.
We just gotta keep pace. Gotta keep on the road. Anyway, it's
Let the
us,
donkey
Goon
inside.
Squad.
Yeah, and probably JoJo. Yeah, Goon Squad and JoJo. That's our guest is the dog.
That's true.
He's very barky
the
right now.
The tyrant will make himself known shortly.
He's feeling spicy today. So, what's up, everybody? It's us again, coming at you with some new movies that we watched. It's been a while, I think.
Yeah, I think the last episode was start of November, mid-November.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that, which I believe was our antagonists list.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, that was a fun one. Which it's like holidays. Everybody gets kind of busy and wrapped up in everything. So happy holidays, you goons.
Yeah, happy.
Cat's really nice way of saying we had shit to do, and you're lucky you're getting this one.
Yeah, happy. Fuck you. It's January.
Fuck you, it's January.
Fuck you, it's January.
Yeah, so I'm James, also known as Saber0307, and I'm once again joined by, the lovely Lee and Kat, and apparently dogs barking outside and JoJo whining in my room. This is great.
Lovely, JoJo. And it's me, your girl, the Attack Cat, on Twitch. I am a dialect designer by day, horror writer / artist / streamer by night.
And top of the fucking morning, it's Lee Alder, the Valley Jester. And I'm checking in just to make sure you've all been doing okay while we've been gone for a little while. Hoity-toity. What a pair of fucking movies we got this week. Jesus.
Right? So, weird feature.
So, I will say, though, they are not wholly unrelated to one another, though.
Bum, bum, bum.
Oh my god.
Yes. I will mention that when we get to it.
Okay.
But yeah, I because I too was like, man, these are extremely different movies. And then on rewatch of one of them, I was like, huh. There's our connection, I guess.
Well, before we dive on into the first feature, bump bump ba
All right.
No, Lee, don't put that in your body.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, what is it this week, Lee?
Today, ladies and gentlemen, is a throwback. This is a little bit of celebrating the yesteryear, as it were. I figured with moving on to a new year and new fresh beginnings, that it was apropos that I indulge in a little something from when I was but a wee young lad on the emerald fields of Ireland. What I have here, for all transparency, is something I've had many times before, but swore off of, like a horrible drug that I would never touch ever again. Because I used to pound about 3 to 5 of these bad boys a day back when I was in high school, and haven't touched one basically since.
That's a lot of old granddad, Lee.
And oh no, I can't. Oh no, for several reasons, I won't be touching the old granddad anymore. But no, what we have here is the classic amp. The nitrous fucking horrid.
They still make that?
Slimer green. See, that's the thing. Is I thought they disappeared for a long fucking time. They went the way of the dodo, buried underground in some ancient tomb, never to be seen again. And then they just started to have a resurgence like last year or so.
Fucking wild.
And
nice.
Yeah, it was like the ghost of Christmas past coming to haunt me in my sleep, going, I'm back. And I said, no, please, not like this. I've been so good. Just listen to the escaping souls from the can.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. You know how smells can sometimes, like, trigger memories and, like, send you back in time?
Oh, yeah. Where are you going, Lee?
This smells like I should be doing homework and I'm playing StarCraft. Oh yeah.
Excellent.
That
Excellent.
smells like all of my awkward high school thespian years rolled up into one can.
You mean back when Blizzard was good?
Blizzard was never good. All right, here we go. Oh God.
That slurp made it sound already very unappealing.
Oh man, some things are better kept in memory. You know when you got really strong memories of a program or a movie from back in the day, and I should indulge the old nostalgia and go back and rewatch like Dot Hack Sign or like original Dragon Ball, and then why did I do this?
Yeah, it was me with the third Turtles movie.
Oh no, and now I'm looking at the nutrition label. 116% the daily sugar value.
Oh Lord.
116%? You fucking serious?
At 5 p.m. Let's go.
Oh fuck. Why am I putting this in my body?
Because you need a hero, Lee.
God. All right,
and you're
I regret
staying
everything
alive.
immensely. Let's do this.
That was my shitty segue.
I rate this 4 Zergling rushes out of 10.
Okay. All right.
Fantastic.
Nostalgia gets no bonus points here.
Good.
Yeah. There you go.
Beautiful.
Oh boy. All right. Well, are we ready to kick it off with our first movie to discuss for the evening?
Yeah.
James, I think since you were the one who kind of brought this movie to our attention, I think you should probably take the lead, unless he wants to fight you on it.
Negative.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I brought this up.
I'll take the lead on the third piece of shit we talk about later.
Oh god.
Womp womp. Yeah, I brought this up on the Gooncast as just on one of our what have you been doing recently, and it was Bullet Train, and I watched it, and I thought it was really fun, and I was like, hey, we should do a watch party. It doesn't even necessarily have to be for the Gooncast, and then we're all busy because of holiday shit. And we realized that the year was slipping by, and we wanted to do one more Gooncast. And it turns out, it was a fun movie. So let's talk about it. For those unaware, Bullet Train is a 2022 action comedy based off of a Japanese novel. I believe the novel is called Maria Beetle. It has an ensemble cast starring Brad Pitt, Michael Shannon, Joey King, Sandra Bullock, Zaza Beetz, Aaron Taylor Johnson, and a whole bunch of other people that you'll recognize probably, but maybe not necessarily know a name to. It also has our boy Hiroyuki Sanada, who was recently in Mortal Kombat 2021.
Yeah. I gotta just amend one little thing. You gotta put some respect on the name of one of Gooncast's favorite actresses.
Oh, Joey King?
Joey King.
Yeah. Of Wish Upon fame.
Of Wish Upon fame.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I firmly believe that movies like Bullet Train now are going to make Joey catch on, and she's going to start landing all these big fucking roles.
And
we're going to be the three. We're going to be the three on the sidelines going, I remember back when she was talking multiverses.
Listen.
Absolutely.
I guess this means, since she's a Gooncast regular, we got to watch that fucking Slender Man movie in the near future, right?
Oh, well,
sure.
I've already seen it, so...
That didn't stop us from doing something on the Bye Bye Man.
That's true.
God,
I actually don't know which one is worse, because they're like the same tier of like... They're not just bad, they're like boring.
My money, without seeing Slender Man, my money is that Slender Man will be worse because it's based on a dead meme and it was hacked to shit to get a PG-13 rating and to avoid controversy.
Mm-hmm. Which it doesn't matter because literally it came out right after the IRL stabbings that were inspired by Slender Man. So it's just like you could not win.
Yeah.
Don't you hate when something good is ruined by IRL stabbings?
Yeah.
I know,
it's great.
Right?
God.
So speaking of IRL stabbings, Bullet Train is basically a comedy of errors involving a bunch of assassins all on a bullet train in Japan for a wide variety of different reasons, at least they think. You have Brad Pitt filling in for another assassin named Carver, and he's kind of a little bit on hard times, trying to go through therapy to work out his issues, and he's just got a simple snatch and grab case. He's just got to get on this train and steal a briefcase and then get off at the next station, and he feels he's completely unlucky. And sure enough, arguably he's maybe unlucky, arguably he's very lucky, but he kind of gets forced to stay on this train and is wrapped up in a larger, greater conspiracy involving all these assassins and very well choreographed fight sequences that make very, very damn good use of the environment they're set in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we off podcast, we were all kind of discussing our favorite, like, individual one-on-one fight scenes.
I absolutely wanted to have a side thing of just like, what was your favorite fight scene in this movie? So I don't know if you want to do that now.
Yeah, why not? Fuck it.
Okay,
yeah,
right.
Let's do it. So, like, go first, Kat.
Okay, yeah, my favorite was the Ladybug versus Hornet fight, which happens, I think, close to the halfway point, and it's basically Brad Pitt's character finds the woman who has she stole a snake at the beginning of the film, and basically her whole MO is poison. And so the entire fight revolves around the two of them, or her trying to stab him with a syringe of, I believe, snake venom. I believe it's the snake that she...
Yes.
Which is, like, she was specifically hired to kill, like, the son in the same way that Brad Pitt killed off all of the party members of the wedding in Mexico, and it's, like, a whole big tangled web of stuff. But anyway, it's, like, a really fun fight where, like, they're essentially both, like, you know, fighting each other over this thing the size of a pen, and then Brad Pitt gets stabbed with it. Brad Pitt then takes the syringe and stabs her with it, and then part 2 of the fight is them fighting over the, like, antidote that she has, which just ends up being, like, a very quick 2-second thing of, like, Brad Pitt, like, diverts it and stabs himself with it, and then it's just her dying of this horrible, like, blood-curdling poison that she intended for him. And it's just a really fun, good fight.
Yeah.
It's well choreographed, and I like those fights that are, like, really super intimate and also just goofy as hell. Her catchphrase is basically like, "You bitch."
Yeah,
like, she just calls him a bitch the whole time.
Yeah, she's got the Freddy Krueger thing going on.
Yeah. Yes.
Welcome to prime time, bitch.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And then like it ends with her like desperately crawling around for like she's dying, so she's just like crawling for something, and he's just sitting there asking her like, "You don't seem like the religious type. Do you want like a blanket? Do you want me to hold your hand? I don't know.
You want some water?"
Yeah. As she's like pouring water like onto her face, that's like, you know, blood is pouring out of her eyes, and like she's a fucking goner. Like,
yeah.
But it's fun. It's very fun.
Yeah, this movie, it the comparison I kept wanting to make in my head while I was watching it was Smokin' Aces.
Yes,
Which,
absolutely.
you know, a bunch of hitmen come together trying to get the same mark, and
It's like same kind of like killer ensemble cast and like
yes.
tone.
And
yeah.
and yeah, like every killer has their own specialty or gimmick or weapon
Yeah.
or something.
And they kind of always do a little bit of a like, here's the like quick flashback scene of like the backstory of this guy, or like you know, something clever that sets them up as a character within like a couple seconds or a couple minutes.
Yeah, Bullet Train, the best way I could put it is it's Smokin' Aces, but it takes itself just a tad more seriously. Because Smokin' Aces is totally just pulpy, like, shit. Which is why I love it.
I do have a, well, I didn't want to divert from your favorite fight scene, though. But my, I guess just as a quick thing, my other comparative, like, movie / story / whatever would be, I feel like this is almost a comedic take on Murder on the Orient Express.
A little bit, yeah.
Specifically because of the line that gets referenced repeatedly throughout that movie, where they talk about like trains as sort of like the great equalizer, where like nowhere else in the world do you have, you know, obviously this is like the 20s, so like planes didn't exist yet, but it's like it's the ultimate like group of strangers gathered together and like just going somewhere, right? Like you don't know each other. You are literally all passing ships in the night. And it, in Murder on the Orient Express, it ends up being like, no, all of these people actually plan to be on this train to murder a person. And in this movie, it's kind of, no, all of these separate people plan to be on this train to like murder each other.
Basically.
It's funny how it all works out that way sometimes.
Yeah, So, Lee, what's your favorite fight scene?
Yeah, so my favorite fight sequence is Brad Pitt is he's getting away with the bag. He's got the briefcase that is the MacGuffin that a bunch of people are trying to get their hands on. And he's about to get away scot-free. He gets to the door of the train as it comes into station, doors open up, and there is rap sensation Bad Bunny. Standing there in a fresh white suit with some dried blood on it. And so it was a wine stain.
Yes.
And my boy Bad Bunny is playing Benito Martinez Ocasio, the Wolf. And he's a bad motherfucker with a big ass knife. Now, let me tell you something a little about me. I love a fucking knife fight in a movie. I love a good hand-to-hand fight. I love a good shootout. Give me a fucking knife fight any day.
Oh, hell yeah.
And, well, Brad Pitt, he doesn't have a knife. What's he got? Oh, he's got the MacGuffin. So this fight is Bad Bunny, WrestleMania superstar, up against Brad Pitt in a knife versus briefcase fight. Now, Saber put this very well when we were first discussing the movie, which is, or you know what? I don't want to miscredit. Kat, it might have been you. One of you said that it feels like every movie is trying to be John Wick.
Oh,
because that's kind of like the thing these days because John Wick took off so well.
That was Saber. Yeah.
This with the tight confinement of the arena. Because again, this doesn't forget its surroundings. This feels like a fight scene in a cramped ass train car. This felt like The Raid.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
And that tickled me wonderfully because Brad Pitt, he's not necessarily trying to kill Bad Bunny. He's not trying to kill the wolf. He doesn't remember who this dude is.
He doesn't want to even kill anybody.
He's filling in for somebody at work, You're about to enjoy your day off from whatever you do, and you gotta get called in because some jagoff is like pretending to be sick or something. We've all been there. So knife versus briefcase in the tight confines of a train car, ending as all great knife fights do, with the knife owner being killed by his own knife.
Which
is how it always goes down.
Yep.
You know what? It's a formula that exists for a reason. We don't need to fuck with it.
I agree that scene is really, really good. Also, in part because it's literally the intro scene for the wolf as well.
Yes.
So the train doors open. We see him. We get a flashback of like his entire story, basically.
His flashback is longer than the fight sequence.
Yeah, and it's done with mostly no dialogue too. Where we get his entire shit just with no dialogue.
I want to talk about like other favorite scenes after this because there are so many scenes that are just like so well shot and convey the story so well with no words. Yep. And it's so like I think the cinematography for this the cinematography and just like directing of this movie were absolutely spot on.
It's rock solid.
Yeah.
So for mine,
what's your favorite?
There's a like. Let me preface this where it's like for me there isn't a single fucking dud fight scene in this entire goddamn movie. I loved every fight, and it's a very tough call. My runner up would be Tangerine versus Ladybug, especially with like the little concession interlude thing. But my favorite as a whole is Lemon versus Ladybug in the quiet car, because it's confined to the two of them just sitting across from each other in this thing and trying to beat the shit out of each other without making any noise because this lady keeps fucking shushing them. And it's very creatively done with just how they execute stuff and how they're hopping
Comedic
back and forth.
Timing.
Yeah, it's just rock solid. It's a hell of a lot of fun, and we get more. Part of the reason why I like it so much is because of Lemon. He might be my favorite character in the entire movie because of his fucking obsession with Thomas the Tank Engine, which was kind of an emotional heart of the film too.
Please tell the fine people out there who Lemon and Tangerine are.
So Lemon and Tangerine are twins, apparently.
Allegedly.
One is played by Aaron Taylor Johnson, which is Tangerine. The other is Brian Tyree Henry, who plays Lemon. Brian Tyree Henry was recently in Godzilla vs. Kong. I don't know what else he's been in. I know I've seen him around. And they're two twin brothers who do hits together, and they're like quote unquote the best of the best, and they're constantly bickering with each other. And Lemon is obsessed with the children's television show Thomas the Tank Engine. And it's a fun little character trait where he basically assigns a Thomas engine to the Thomas character to almost every single person he meets. And that's kind of like how he judges their personality. Oh, it's like, oh, you're a Thomas. Oh, you're such and such. And like the worst of the worst is the Diesel. Now, I don't know much about Thomas the Tank Engine. I haven't watched that show in years. So I don't remember any of the characters. But like, he carries around even a little sticker book to give people stickers as to like, yes, you're this character. Yes, you're this character.
It kind of becomes a plot point.
It kind of becomes a plot point.
That he outs Joey King as like actually not the innocent little girl she's pretending to be by sticking her with the Diesel sticker at the end.
And it has an emotional payoff towards the end of the film when spoilers, Tangerine is killed and Lemon is sitting with Tangerine's corpse and tells him that he's a Thomas, and it's a very emotional scene for a comedic action movie. And then it has a comedic payoff where, despite his obsession with Thomas the Tank Engine, he doesn't know how to fucking drive the train.
Yes.
And it's just a wonderful little character arc, and Tangerine and Lemon are constantly bickering with each other, and it's fun bickering, and in his bickering with Ladybug later on is also quite fun as well.
Mm-hmm. This movie does a lot of tonal things correctly that like I've got a soft spot for. You know, I've mentioned in a few podcasts in the past that I adore when there's like the team of mercenaries who all have a specialty. You know, I love that. Mm-hmm. But I equally love when you've got this big like hodgepodge, this big gumbo going together of all these different spicy ingredients, and they almost like keep topping each other with how ludicrous they are, but they still never fall outside that realm of believability that is set within the universe. Like, it gets crazy, but never crazy enough that it becomes far-fetched.
While I agree with you that nothing ever felt like, okay, this is too ridiculous and it fully took me out of the movie, I will say as like, because I on a second watch, I did find more things that I didn't necessarily gel with the film.
Okay.
I still think it's great, but at the end of the movie, the train, you know, kind of goes out of control and ends up crashing through the barrier at the end, and like it was a little bit too Bugs Bunny for me.
It's very over the top and cartoonish.
No, I was speaking purely just to like the characters' traits and like abilities, but
yes, absolutely.
The movie quite literally goes off the rails.
Yes.
And,
yes. And like I didn't necessarily hate the ending at all, because like I think there were still some really fun moments of like, okay, all the characters are kind of like really fucked up and it's sort of like everybody's last stand. We get like Joey King gets taken out by like a truck, like Mean Girls style, which was awesome.
A tangerine truck, no less. Yes, revenge.
Yes. And so that was fucking hilarious.
That was just the Chinese puzzle box.
Yeah.
That's true. True. It is the second movie we've seen where she dies in a car accident.
Yep. Michael Shannon screaming out in a thick Russian accent, "Do not call me bro," right before his head explodes.
Yeah, that was Oh yeah, spoiler alert, he's the like big bad that like orchestrated this whole thing, and he gets got by his own daughter, Joey King's like rigged, like essentially her plan works.
Yes.
Like essentially she ends up like everything that all of her machinations paid the fuck off. But then, you know, she kind of fucked with the wrong people and just gets run over.
It's in which, you know, good riddance because she's a fucking heartless monster.
Yes, the character was absolutely awful.
Yes.
Yeah,
Another thing though that I noticed more on second watch, which like I wouldn't necessarily call it problematic, but like it definitely is something that made me pause a little bit and say, now why is this set in Japan when like almost all of the characters and most of the important extras are white or non-Japanese people? I know it's based on a Japanese like story or like novel.
Yeah.
But it felt very much like I don't know if you guys have ever seen Bunraku.
I have not, no.
Oh, I've seen Bunraku.
Okay, it felt.
I love me some Bunraku.
Bunraku is great, but it's also very like white people take on Japan. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
Where it was just like okay, there's maybe a few of these things, but at the very least, like one of the main characters is what's his face? Rain, the pop star, right? Is that his name? In Bunraku?
It's been a hot minute.
I know. I'm like, I can't. It's been a long. The only thing I remember, the reason I watched that movie was Kevin McKidd. Who is awesome.
Shout out to Kevin McKidd.
Yeah. But like, you know, it kind of made the like, there's a scene shortly after we're introduced to Lemon and Tangerine where it's like, oh, like we killed 17 people on the way here, and he's like, no, 16, and they're like arguing about it, and then they go through and do like, okay, like 1, 2, 3, and it's all like very comedy beat, like mass murder, and it's all like generic Japanese thugs, and I'm like, I don't know if we need to do this.
Gakt is in Bunraku.
We don't talk about Gakt.
Gakt is in Bunraku.
Okay, we need to do a Bunraku watch party.
No matter how hard we try, we can't escape him. Why won't you die?
That's amazing. That's oh my god. Okay, but anyway.
But yeah,
all that being said, it kind of like took me out of what was supposed to be a comedy beat to be like, I don't know how much I dig this right now of like you just massacring a bunch of nameless Japanese people in a movie set in Japan when almost none of the named characters are Japanese.
Yeah, it's based on a Japanese novel with strictly, as far as I know, I think in the novel they're all supposed to be Japanese characters, but the author's intent, from what I hear, or from what he said, because there was kind of a bit of a mini controversy about the film because of the casting and everything like that. And
I kind of figured as much.
Yeah.
Because I mean, this is also something that like is not unique to this movie in particular. Like, there's plenty of movies that are like, we'll set this in an exotic locale, and then everyone is just American, and you're like, come on, y'all.
His the author's big take was the fact that like he generally like doesn't see race for any specific of the like the alias characters and whatnot. So he's like, yeah, I'm fine with it so long as it contains the soul of the novel, which it apparently does, according to him. But, like...
did he like it?
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, yeah. Like, apparently there were talks about adapting it and setting it in a different part of the world to try to maybe potentially circumvent that stuff. Mm-hmm. However, they decided to keep it in Japan because of, like, the international appeal of Tokyo.
And also,
it's
like,
very striking visually.
Yeah,
and bullet trains are kind of very unique too. Like, it's a unique setting for it. Like, you know, it would be kind of weird if they just kind of like pretended America had something like that, or pretended somewhere in Europe had something like that, because it's just like, well, but we know Japan has these trains.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So I get it, and I'm glad that the author doesn't have a problem with it. I am simply saying that as an American person who is at least somewhat aware of these kind of cultural things, watching with my, Chinese-born, Japanese-raised husband, it was a little bit like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all. Those are my two kind of like gripes with the film that I think people should be aware of going into it.
Yeah, if you can put up with an absolutely ridiculous third act that stops caring about any sense of believability, if that doesn't detract from your enjoyment of the movie, then it's a wild ride.
It's the third act, as Lee said, literally goes off the rails and becomes kind of cartoonish. It's still fun. Like, it's definitely took me out of the believability of the situation. Granted, a big part of the theme of the movie is luck.
Yes,
but
and it's like Brad Pitt like flies through the crashing train and like
conveniently lands on the mascot costume.
The mascot costume, yeah, and I was just kind of like, okay, I know why you're doing this, and I know this is not necessarily out of tone for the movie, but it's just a little bit like,
yeah,
I don't know about this.
Yeah, Saber brought it up. They do lean heavily into the theme of luck and fate in this movie, and it kind of boils down to like the final confrontations between Brad Pitt's character Ladybug, who he believes is complete bad luck, and Hiroyuki Sanada's character up against Michael Shannon's big imposing Act 3 villain, the White Death, who is so lucky that before executing an enemy, he plays Russian roulette with himself and always survives. Which, let's just point out, is a badass character detail.
Oh yeah.
And every time he's about to ice somebody, he's just got to prove that he can survive a shot to the head himself. It's like, you're so fucking
the trait of how he spins it too.
Yeah.
And then him getting got by a gun like backfiring on him is like so perfect.
Yep. Bad luck.
Yeah, exactly. The other thing I wanted to like circle back to was that we had like we mentioned before, there were a lot of scenes that were just like really well shot with no dialogue. The fucking water bottle POV scene, like at the very end of the film, I was like, I feel like I missed it the first time because I saw that the second time I watched it and like died of laughter basically.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was just like,
we get a character arc for the water bottle.
Yeah. For anyone who's seen Lord of War, which opens with the birth of a bullet.
With the bullet, yeah.
It's that basically for a bottle of Fiji water on its journey throughout the movie, and it's fucking brilliant.
It's so good because like this bottle is like really important because like somebody slips poison into it and somebody gets poisoned drinking it, and it's just like,
this bottle of water
so
jacks up the whole movie. This bottle of water gets like the highest kill count.
Yes. Yeah, actually, I think so.
Yeah.
Just because so many different people killed so many other different people that it's like
as a result of it.
Yeah. Also, the soundtrack was really good.
Yeah.
I especially dug the Japanese covers of like Staying Alive and Holding Out for Hero. Those were dope. Those were really fun.
It was all the karaoke jams.
Yes.
Yeah, it opens with Staying Alive. I wish it played a little longer because that cover slaps. And the final fight starts with Holding Out for a Hero, but in Japanese. And again, I wish that song played a little longer during the fight because it slapped and it fit the whole fucking theme really goddamn well.
Well, we here on the Gooncast stan Bonnie Tyler.
Yeah, we do.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, the only thing we don't stan is the Bonnie Tyler Satin Ave, because it just keeps telling you to turn around, and then every now and then it falls apart.
Jesus Christ. Alright, I'm gonna drink more of that.
You, James. Good night, everybody.
Good night, folks. Alright.
Holy shit.
Final thoughts on Bullet Train?
Yeah, it's fun.
Watch it, yeah. It's fun. It's like, it is not, I mean, there are themes in the movie, and, like a lot of very fun characters, but it's not super deep. It's like a great popcorn flick.
Yeah, turn your brain off.
Yeah, it's fun. I rented it when it first went on video on demand or whatever, and, it was fun. And now it's on Netflix, so,
Oh, yeah, you have no excuse not to if you have Netflix. So.
Yeah, it was just a blast. It was a very fun, entertaining movie. And as Lee mentioned, one of the things that I was really happy with is it didn't try to be John Wick.
I was just about to say, like, in a world of John Wick and John Wick sequels and John Wick clones, this was a really refreshing assassin movie.
Yeah, it's It was just overall, it takes really, it utilizes its environment very, very, very fucking well.
Speaking of movies that use a bunch of foreign extras as just uses all of their extras as generic foreigners, the John Wick movies. God damn it.
Yeah, go double feature Bullet Train with Smokin' Aces, and you'll have a real good time.
There you go.
There you go.
Or double feature it with our next movie.
Oh my god, yeah, if you...
Yeah, we got a story to that one.
Oh man. Okay, so as our segue though, I want to tell you guys the connection between Bullet Train and Banshees of Inisherin.
Okay.
It is not as much of a stretch as you would assume.
Okay.
So in Bullet Train, shortly after we have met, basically this is a tangerine and lemon scene. This is shortly after they have lost the briefcase. The White Death's son, who they are supposed to be guarding, is still alive, but the deal was the money and the kid. And they lost the money. And they're like, well, we got the kid, that's the important part, right? It's family and stuff. And I think Tangerine brings this up. He brings up a story of a woman who owed this Russian mobster a bunch of money, and apparently she was 5 minutes late in getting him the money. And he said, okay, now she owes him 5 fingers, but instead of making her quote unquote sit through it 5 times, he just cut off her arm. And that's basically them trying to be like, we don't want to get our arm cut off by this. We need to get the money back.
Basically.
Speaking of fingers.
Yeah.
Segue.
All right.
All right.
Bring us into station.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in a complete divergence from the tone and joyousness with which we left our viewing of Bullet Train, Banshees of Inisherin is not a movie for it's not a feel-good movie.
Man, fuck this movie.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is quite miserable, I will say. And in that way,
that's a bit of an understatement.
In that way, though, it's brilliant. So,
oh yeah, absolutely.
I cannot recommend this movie enough, but at the same time, with the caveat of you will not just be sad, you will be depressed by the end of this.
As a quick aside, too, on that note, I did a second watch party of this the other night before we went into Ghost Adventures. And our friends and associates, Greedy, Kumquat, and Lou Killy and Gino joined me. And both Lou Killy and Greedy, I was telling everybody the entire time, this is a feels bad movie. You're gonna feel like shit by the end of it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
And especially as the movie kept going on and on and on, they kept being like, "Fuck you, Saber, making us watch this depressing shit. Fuck you. Yeah. I hate this movie." I mean, they loved it, but they hated it too.
That's the natural reaction.
They had mentioned when I joined later for the Ghost Hunter viewings, they had mentioned that they were just oh, we thought it was gonna be just dark. Not
no,
crush your soul to dust.
This is morose.
Yes.
This is super, super pitch black, bleak. You will be laughing your ass off 1 minute and then be holding back tears the next. I think Greedy even said she was literally crying at the end of the movie.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. I gasped I think a total of 3 times in the film. Just because I was so invested in what was happening on screen.
Yeah.
So this is a Martin McDonagh movie.
Fuck yeah, it is.
Yeah. So for those of you who the name sounds familiar, he is the writer-director behind 7 Psychopaths, In Bruges, 3 Billboards Outside
Ebbing,
Missouri. Thank you. As well as he's a playwright. So famously, I believe I've mentioned this repeatedly on the cast. He is the playwright behind my favorite play of all time, The Pillowman, which actually has a lot more connections to this movie than I think I previously thought. But we'll get into that later. So, Banshees is about two men, Podrick, played by Colin Farrell, and Colm, played by Brendan Gleeson, who are very close friends, who live on this island in Inisherin, like off the coast of Ireland. The movie opens with Colin Farrell's character going over to Colm's house to get him for the pub, which they do like every day. And Colm doesn't want to be friends with him anymore. And that's the extent of the explanation.
That is your entire premise for the movie.
Yep.
It's two guys who have been friends for their whole lives, and then one of them just decides, I don't like you anymore.
Yep. But you liked me yesterday.
Yep. And it's just he's like, did I do something wrong? And he's just like, no.
No, you did. Yeah, just
And his Colin Farrell's character he's like I want to say he's a farmer, but really like we're not really shown what he does even.
Yeah.
Like he kind of just spends most of his time like moving cows and going to the pub.
They sold milk to the local general store.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Yeah, exactly. So like I'm guessing that they don't like, rent is probably super cheap here, or they're living on like their family's old land or something like that. But like he doesn't really have to do much. And he lives with his sister Siobhan, played by Carrie Condon. Mm-hmm. And she even jokes at the start of the movie when Podrick comes back and is like, I don't know why he's not talking to me. I don't think we're fighting. I don't know what's going on. And she's just like, maybe he just doesn't like you anymore. And like, that's it. Like, that's the answer. But that's not good enough for Podrick. And so what follows is this like incredible, like slow burn of like Podrick being unable to accept that they're not friends anymore. And Colm also in his own way not being able to accept that they're not friends anymore. And it's this weird dance that they do where it's just like men communicate with each other. And like Siobhan even says as much. But yeah, it's wild. And as the movie progresses, you kind of get a little bit more insight into like what Colm is thinking. He's an aspiring artist. He's a fiddler, I believe, who like he's writing his own music. And he's basically grown tired of their friendship because he feels like he's wasting his time on like useless chatter with this guy when he could be writing his music and like focusing on what will be left behind when he's no longer alive. Like, he specifically has, there's a scene specifically when Podrick gets really drunk and finally like confronts him again in the pub, where he talks about like, like nobody, because Podrick is like, you're not being nice. And Colm is just like, well, nobody, we don't remember anybody from like the 18th century who was nice. We remember Mozart because he made, these beautiful classical pieces. And so that's kind of the gist of it. And then kind of in an incredibly like twisted sort of logic, Colm kind of weaponizes Podrick's like care, like Podrick's friendship by saying, if you don't leave me the fuck alone, I am going to cut off my fingers so that I can't play my music and it will be your fault.
Yep.
And it's so fucked up. And like, again, this movie is incredibly, like, the pacing is incredible. It's just, like, it never feels slow. It always feels like things are happening, but it's this incredible... of all of Martin McDonagh's movies, I think this is the one that, to me, feels the most like one of his plays, which I think James can talk a little bit more about, like, the sort of history behind it once we get into that a little more. But there's a reason for that.
And the screenplay is just so tight. It is so perfect.
Yes. And it like the cadence of the written lines too is very reminiscent of The Pillowman, and some of his other works, which I haven't really I haven't read extensively, but I've at least seen some of. It's also like it's focused on the singular locale, which is the island. It really only takes place in like basically like 3 major locations, which are like their houses and the pub. And then it's just centered on specifically this like the deterioration or the like implosion of this friendship. So
it's a really rough movie for anybody who's been through that awkward growing phase in life of realizing that there's people that you just leave behind as you get older.
I mean, absolutely.
Yep.
I think I also. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that, like, I was mentioning during our, I think, like, after we finished the movie, I have been on both sides of that fence. Obviously, not to that fucking extreme.
Wait, you never burned somebody's house down, James?
I know.
You haven't lived until you've murdered someone's precious pet donkey.
As far as I know, nobody's cut off their fingers because of me. I have all 10 of my fingers.
A likely story.
A likely story.
Exactly what someone with 8 fingers would say.
Exactly. It's just a brutal gut punch of a movie that you'll be laughing at because of pitch black fucking humor and other occasional inappropriate nonsense, because that's the trait of this director.
Yes, exactly. Like, if you've seen any of Martin McDonagh's movies or plays, then you know that he trades in sort of like, I won't say inappropriate comedy, because I don't think it's ever like punching down or like mean-spirited toward, like, he just tends to include characters that like,
it's very real in that respect.
Yes, exactly. I think I'm, I wrote down here that like Dominic is probably the closest to like sort of a really, really dark character in this. Like, because effectively he seems to have some sort of like mental hangups or mental problems.
Yeah.
He's apparently horrible to women. He like gets kicked out of the bar all the time. But he comes from an abusive home. His dad is horribly abusive to him, and like it's kind of just like this, like, it's not even a secret. Everybody knows it, and they just kind of like deal with it because they don't like Dominic. And it's like that's pretty shitty, and also reminds me very much of a lot of like, his other works. He's like, McDonagh is never one to like shy away from sort of like really dark subject matter. I mean, like 3 Billboards is about a like rape and murder, right? Yep. Like 7 Psychopaths is all assassins, effectively.
In Bruges is about the death of a child.
Yes. And The Pillowman too is about the serial murders of children, and touches heavily on all forms of child abuse. And it's and also
it's heavy
like
stuff.
Yeah, he is big into heavy subject matter, so like, I guess like content warning for people as well, that like I think Banshees, of all of his work, I think for me has been like the least sort of like touchy on those things, but it does still touch on those things because that is who he is as a writer, and I think he has always done a really careful job. I also want to say before I continue, Jenny is best girl.
Absolutely.
I miss her so much.
Jenny is best girl. Siobhan is fucking great, but Jenny is
Siobhan is great. Yeah.
Jenny is perfect.
And yeah, also like to what you both were saying about like the growth of friendships, like I very much think that this also struck a very personal note with me, because not once but twice in my life I have had very close friends just sort of like ghost me and decide that like our friendship was not only fleeting but conditional, and I wasn't aware of the conditions, and for some reason those conditions just got revoked without my knowing, and that's it.
Yep.
Right. No one has ever cut off fingers and mailed them to me, but yeah.
They could have thrown them at your house. I mean, they could have been in your yard or something. I don't know.
You know what? That's true. Maybe I just never found them, because I did have dogs growing up, and dogs like to eat fingers. R.I.P. Jenny. But,
too soon.
Yeah, absolutely too soon. So yeah, this movie has a really like, the escalation is, it's a very quiet film. It's not, like graphic depictions of people getting murdered, like, Bullet Train, right? Like, that's not the point of it. But that makes the violence that does happen, or maybe not violence, but the graphic content that does happen so much more impactful in a like emotional way, right? Because effectively Podrick keeps trying to reconnect with Colm. Like he's desperate for him, like to be friends with him again. And effectively he does end up pushing him to cut off one of his fingers. And that's sort of the first instant of like, oh, okay, he's not joking. This is fucked up. This is awful, right? And still Podrick's like, I have to give him his finger back. And his sister's just like, you're an idiot. Like, do not do that, right? Like don't stop talking to this guy. He doesn't want to talk to you. And everyone is basically like, you're fucking stupid. And then it's like, but he's just desperate for this connection again.
Yeah, Lou had a theory as we were watching it that Podrick's character might be on the spectrum, but because it's like, 1920s, that wouldn't necessarily be talked about or diagnosed or anything like that, especially in like a rural community like that.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
he's
absolutely.
he does not get the message, and he's just so adamant about trying to fix things.
And I will actively say that that is also a subject that Martin McDonagh has touched on before, because in The Pillowman, famously, the main character's brother is has some form of mental handicap where he's in a special needs school. And they, because of the tone, like the characters refer to it in much less nice language than I am using right now. So therefore, like, again, content warning, but it is a very real thing that he's touched on before. So I would not be surprised if elements of that came into this character as well.
Yeah,
and that's also why I think Dominic might also have something, something going on in that regard. I also want to point out that it takes place during the Irish Civil War, but none of the characters give a shit about the conflict.
Yeah, they actively do not care.
Reasons. Yeah. Dominic says he's against the war entirely. His dad is asked to go to the mainland to oversee like an execution, and he's confused about who's executing whom. And this is when he's talking to Colm, and Colm is kind of like, you don't care who they're like, you don't remember who they're executing, and he's just like, I just don't care. I want to see somebody die. And it's like, okay, you're really fucked up.
Yeah, he's like, I'd go there for if it was executing you.
Yes, exactly. Because he's like, for 6 pence and a free lunch, like, awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
this is a poor, impoverished community that like execution is entertainment.
Yep. And like even for Podrick, like it's mostly just that they're so isolated from it all that it doesn't affect them. But in some ways, like that, that sort of theme reflects back on the conflict that's happening between the two characters. And yeah, it's very interesting. So yeah, essentially the escalations continue. Colm does eventually end up cutting off all of his fingers, and when he does so, he throws them at their house again, and the Podrick's pet donkey Jenny gets a hold of them, and she ends up choking and dying on one of them. And that's the point where like Podrick kind of snaps, where he's like, this is no longer about us being friends at all. Like, yeah. Like, I am getting revenge. And the thing is, he's still such a sweet guy, because, oh, I forgot to mention the old lady.
The ghoul.
There's an old lady in this movie, and she's kind of, technically I believe she is the Banshee of the title. And the reason I believe this is because Colm has a line where he talks about banshees are no longer wailing to portend deaths. They're just sitting back amused and like waiting for them to happen.
Yeah.
And she portends that 2 deaths are going to happen on the island before the movie, before like this is all over, quote unquote. And she's right in a weird way. In not the way that we're led to believe, I mean. Mm-hmm. And so basically Podrick goes back to the pub, and Colm is like, hey, yeah, I cut off all my fingers, but like, don't worry about it. Like, we're square now. And he's like, no, we're not fucking square. My donkey's dead, and I'm going to burn your fucking house down. And I don't give a shit if you're in it or not. And effectively, that's exactly what he does. He but he ends up saving his dog and bringing his dog back.
He even tells him, like, your dog has nothing to do with this. Leave him outside.
Yes.
I'm telling you the exact time so the dog doesn't die.
Yes. And specifically, also, he passes the on the way to the pub. He passes the old lady who says, "Don't go killing his dog now." And then he goes, "Don't go filling my head with ideas I didn't fucking have before you talk to me, you nutbag."
Yeah.
And it's just great.
Every good Shakespearean tragedy needs a soothsayer.
Yep.
Absolutely. And so, I should also mention Siobhan at this point has left the island. She got a job as a librarian, I believe, on the mainland.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, effectively with her gone, and then with Jenny's death, and, now his friendship is over, effectively. Like, Podrick doesn't have anybody at all. And as we find out later, the second death that the soothsayer prophesized is the death of Dominic. So as he's like writing his sort of farewell letter to Siobhan, we learn that Dominic drowned in the lake.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was kind of just like this tragic incident, but because of that means there's been 2 deaths.
Uh-huh.
So when Podrick goes back to check on the house, he finds that even though when he was there, when he started lighting the house on fire, he saw Colm inside, Colm did not die in the house fire. So he basically like brings the dog back, and the dog runs off, and they have sort of like one last conversation with each other. Colm did actually end up like writing his song, or writing his his magnum opus that he was working on, that he thought that Podrick's friendship was actively like impeding. But it's just sort of like this very tragic end of even though Colm clearly wants nothing to do with Podrick, and in so much as he's saying that repeatedly, there's still so many instances throughout the movie that show that he still really cares about him. Like, when Dominic's dad, the asshole cop, like tries to threaten him, he like fucking knocks him out like twice, effectively. And just it just ends on this extremely dour note of like everyone on this island is miserable. Yep. Everyone is miserable. Siobhan asks her brother, like, please come out to the island, like, or like, please come off the island. Like, there's room for you here. The war is ending. You can get a job. Like you can be happy and not chained to this like miserable rock in the middle of the ocean. And he's just like, I have to stay with my animals, and my home is in Inisherin, and it's just like. Oh.
Yeah, at the end of the second watch party, both Greedy and Lou were like, no, that's not the ending. Fuck you. Where's the ending? What? No, there has to be a scene after the credits. Where's the ending? Fuck you. It's not ending like this. Fuck you.
Yep.
And on that note, too, when we first watched this, we were planning on doing a double feature of Banshees and Bullet Train, and we started with Banshees. Yes. And we're all too kind of wrapped up in thought to do Bullet Train. And coincidentally, we almost didn't do Zach Baggins stuff after watching Banshees, because Lou and Greedy were too fucking depressed. Like, I can't do this.
Of course not. Like, it's a movie that will stick with you both emotionally and mentally. It's just really, really good.
It's one of those movies that it can strike a very visceral chord if you've been in those positions. This is the main conflict of this movie is ambition versus complacency.
Yep.
Yes.
And
yes,
you can't fault Colm for wanting to follow his passion and wanting to complete his compositions and be remembered for his art.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, until he, starts to go off the deep end, you can't fault Podrick because he's living a decent life. He tends to his animals. He makes a living for he and his sister, and he just wants to spend time with his best friend out at the pub.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
and talk about what the shit was in his, like, the the consistency of his pony's shit.
He wants to talk dumb shit with his best friend all day. You know, neither of them is to fault for wanting to follow their goal.
Yeah.
Which is where the pain of this whole story, you know, really resides in. If they were a little more like emotionally mature and knew how to approach the topic, like a lot of movies have like those stupid situations where it's like, God, if the characters would just have a conversation, this would all be over.
Which and multiple characters point out. Siobhan mentions being like, why don't men fucking talk to each other? And even Dominic says, what is he, 12? When he learns that, like,
why is he acting like a moody school child?
Yeah, exactly.
And this is an example of it done like with the joke of it aside, like the meme of what's that become aside. And this is, you know, just two people who have that disconnect, who don't know how to set boundaries and are both just following what in their heart they know is correct. And unfortunately for Podrick, it's a pattern that repeats because his best friend moves on to follow their ambition, and then he loses his sister to the same thing. She decides to roll the dice on taking a job across the pond. And it's a very grim sort of series of events that, you know, while it does start to get into more and more like crazy stakes, like with the fingers and burning houses down, this is a situation that a lot of people who watch this movie will find themselves in if they haven't found themselves in it already.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. And the last thing that I wanted to bring up, which Lee, you actually coincidentally already sort of mentioned when you talked about the theme of ambition versus complacency. So I think that I mentioned this earlier, but I think that of all of his movies, I think this is the closest one I've seen to the experience of watching or reading the Pillow Man. And James, do you want to talk a little bit about why that is?
Yeah, so like I'm not as familiar with his play, his works as a playwright, right? But I was looking into this because I was very kind of like curious of, like, you know, when I love a film, I kind of want to look more into it. And it turns out that Martin McDonagh has a series of plays set on the Aran Islands, and he has The Cripple of Inisherin and The Lieutenant of Inishimore, right? And there's...
Which, Cripple of Inisherin is the only one that I had heard of before, and the only reason I heard of it was because I believe Daniel Radcliffe played the starring role in London at some point.
Okay, and he had a third play that he was working on called The Banshees of Inisherin, and apparently it was never published because McDonagh insisted that it isn't any good, and he wanted to return to it when he was a little older. He insists that The Banshees of Inisherin doesn't have much resemblance to, like, the premise of his original play, but it seems as though, like, this is kind of like his attempt at taking that concept of his third play for that trilogy, and as an older individual who has now more experience in writing and storytelling and stuff like that, crafting a new movie out of it.
Y'all are aligning perfectly with the points I wanted to make, because I do feel like specifically there is a shared theme with the Pillow Man in Banshees, and I think it's the sharing of this theme speaks to McDonagh's evolution as a writer, because the Pillow Man was written a while ago. Let me actually see when that was.
I think I saw it was like 90s, right? Like 1994 or 5?
It's 2003 is when it was like published, but 1995 was like the first. So yeah, he is like, this is one of his, I think, oldest plays. And specifically it's about sorry, I should just pull the Band-Aid off and give the quick elevator pitch of the Pillow Man. The Pillow Man is about a writer that is arrested and interrogated by the police of a totalitarian dictatorship, about the content of his unpublished short stories. Because he has one story that has been published, the details of which exactly mirror the murder of a child. And they are investigating a series of murders which appear to mirror other details in his unpublished works. It is a fascinating little play. It is beautifully written. I was lucky enough to be part of a production of it back in my hometown. I was the assistant director for a very small theater group, and just that performance. I can't speak highly enough about this play. But specifically, the theme of the lasting nature of art is shared between these two stories. In Banshees, it's clearly embodied in Colm's ambitions, right? He talks very explicitly about wanting to kind of have something to be remembered by, not wanting to waste his time. That's incredibly fleeting, incredibly limited, but wanting to leave his mark on the world, to the detriment of his friendships, his perceived niceness, what have you. He wants to persist after death, which is a very human desire. Many people just have kids. That's their way of doing that. But for many creatives, it means making an impactful work of art or work,
an artistic legacy.
Exactly. And I think for I will not armchair analyze McDonough at all, but I think especially since when he wrote The Pillow Man, he was not as well known certainly as he is today. So I think because of that, his sort of thoughts, his feelings on this sort of thing have evolved. And therefore we get this much more sort of tragic sense of things. I want to read to you guys a small excerpt from The Pillow Man, because this is just sort of highlighting the similarities in theme here, specifically in the bar scene where Colm is telling Podrick about I want to be Mozart, essentially. So in this scene, to briefly set the stage, Katurian, who's the main character, is talking to his brother Michael. They're both being held about these stories, about these murders. And Michael has, it's never really detailed what he essentially has the mind of a child. And the reason he has that is because he was horrifically abused by their parents as a kid. This is effectively, he discusses, they're discussing a story that Michael found of Katurian's that's called The Writer and the Writer's Brother. And in it, Katurian basically details the what happened to them as kids. So it's effectively the story of a young boy who's raised to never want or need anything, basically just absolute lives in the lap of luxury, but every night he hears the tormented screams of someone being horrifically tortured from the next room over. And that actually happened to him in real life. But in his short story, the discovery of the tortured child in the next room over is happens years later, when he's an adult, when he's a successful writer and an adult, and he comes back and he breaks down the closed off room and finds a child's skeleton holding a short story that is better than every single one of his short stories ever written. And so I'm just gonna read this to you quickly. So Katurian says, "That was a happy ending." And Michael says, almost tearfully, "What, that I'm dead and left to rot? That's a happy ending?" Katurian, "What was left in your hand when you died? A story. A story that was better than any of my stories. See, the writer and the writer's brother. You were the writer. I was the writer's brother. That made it a happy ending for you." Michael, "But I was dead." Katurian, it isn't about being or not being dead. It's about what you leave behind. Michael, I don't get it. Katurian, right at this moment, I don't care if they kill me. I don't care. But they're not going to kill my stories. They're not going to kill my stories. They're all I've got. Michael, pause. You've got me. And I'm just like, watching Banshees, I'm like, oh, I see you, Martin.
Womp womp.
I see the evolution of your work. Because yeah, for the Pillowman, that like Katurian is the main character, right? Colm is not the main character in Banshees. Colm is, I mean, he's definitely one of the protagonists, but I would say Podrick is the main character. But so for Katurian, that is like the most important thing. And in fact, the play ends with a reference back to this story, the writer and the writer's brother, with him revising the ending in such that, yeah, I mean, I guess spoilers for the Pillowman if you want me to not reveal that, because we should definitely like try to find a recording of the Broadway version or the London version or something. But yeah, so I won't spoil it actually, but very much the like end result of that is that like the important thing is that his stories survived. His stories persisted even after he was gone.
Flesh is fallible. It's something that ages and withers and rots.
Yes.
And there are certain intangibles that can be left behind. It makes me think of that pivotal ending scene from V for Vendetta.
Yes. Where like an idea
Creedy
can't...
is demanding why can't you die? He said,
Mm-hmm.
because beneath this mask is more than flesh. Beneath this mask is an idea, Mr. Creedy, and ideas are bulletproof.
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
no.
Exactly. But I would say I think that for Banshees, I think that the conclusion of this, I think the thesis statement of this theme is actually the opposite, right? I think that like even like Colm giving up his friendship for his art, like I don't think that was framed as a tragedy, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
yes, absolutely.
Like I think it's sort of this like, I don't know, I love McDonough so much because I love that he has explored so many facets of this theme that like throughout his entire career, basically. Because even Seven Psychopaths is somewhat, you know, like the main character's a writer, and he definitely has moments in that movie that like kind of directly reference his own like criticism he's received.
I mean, even the main character's name is Martin in that movie too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's definitely not like one for one a like self-insert character, but it's kind of a self-insert character.
A little bit, yeah. On the note of the Pillowman, though, just looking into the Wikipedia page, something I found interesting. Its premiere had David Tennant as Katurian and Jim Broadbent as Topolsky.
Mm-hmm.
In New York, for the Broadway, it had Billy Crudup as Katurian and Jeff Goldblum as Topolsky. Yep. And in Chicago, the main actor that I noticed here, just to tie it to Bullet Train, it had Michael Shannon as Michael.
What?
Yeah. And apparently...
These comparisons run deep.
A second smaller connection.
Yeah.
And
apparently it's actually going to be revived in London in 2023 with Lily Allen as Katurian.
Oh,
really?
Beautiful.
Awesome. I have seen at least one gender swap of Ariel, who's one of the other cops. And that was it was cool, but I wouldn't have done Ariel. I'm glad somebody is gender swapping the main character. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I've always wanted to see the Jeff Goldblum performance because like
he's a fantastic actor.
Y'all, like Topolsky's lines out of Jeff Goldblum's mouth.
Yeah, he awesome. He gets memed into high heaven because of his performances being so quotable and his cadence and the way he speaks. But Goldblum is a fantastic actor.
Yes. He's a tremendous actor.
Yeah. And I remember too, because the New York show was when? It was like 2000, was it?
2005.
Yeah, so it was a couple of years before we put it on. And my director was like, "Oh my god, I feel like Topolsky was like almost written for Goldblum. Like he wasn't, but like imagine. Like also the which I'm gonna mispronounce his name, Zielchko Ivanek he was Ariel in the New York show. And he's one of the he's the guy in Seven Psychopaths that's like I have a gun, and Chris.
Oh yeah, and he's also in Bruges as the Canadian.
Yes, yeah. So like yeah, and oh yeah, we should also mention Colin Farrell has worked with Martin McDonagh on like almost all of his movies. I think the only exception being Three Billboards.
Yep.
And like James, you've mentioned this before, and I think we at the Gooncast can all basically say that we love it when an actor, director, writer duo just like get along so well and keep making good shit together.
Yeah, like I've always liked Colin Farrell, and it was always kind of a shame earlier on in like the early 2000s where he was kind of mostly in junk, like SWAT. And like other stuff where it's like, Pretty Boy stuff, or like he's Bullseye and Daredevil, where he's having fun, he's hamming it up, but it's like kind of a shit movie. But like, he is such a tremendously fucking talented actor, especially under McDonagh. Like, he is so fucking good at just everything. It's conveying so much emotion, like. Just even watching bits and bobs of, I didn't watch the full thing, but I watched some clips of like In Bruges and like some of his more dramatic breakdown moments, like when he's talking about when he killed the little boy. It's just gut wrenching, and like there's elements of that, but like portrayed differently when like Colin Farrell is dealing with his own sadness. Like the one of the most powerful scenes in the movie for me is when the cop decks Colin Farrell, and this is after Brendan Gleeson told him, like, I'm gonna chop off one of my fingers if you ever, like, bother me or speak to me or whatever. And Colm sees this, and he walks over, and he helps Colin Farrell up to his feet, and he puts him in his carriage, and then he starts driving the carriage back towards Podrick's house. And the entire time, like, you can tell Colin Farrell wants to say something to him, but he doesn't want to because he knows what'll happen. And he just starts crying. And it's just a beautifully powerful, hauntingly sad scene with no dialogue because Brendan Gleeson has no interest in talking, and Colin Farrell, if he says anything, Brendan Gleeson's gonna chop off one of his fingers.
Yeah.
It's a powerful performance by Farrell, and again, working with McDonagh, with Martin McDonagh, it's like it's probably like the only duo I think I might like better just because of the number of times they've worked together on absolute bangers is Tarantino and Jackson.
I was gonna say,
I think Tarantino and Sam Jackson might be my favorite duo, but
they're really good.
They're really good.
These two really draw the best out of each other, and like, not to possibly spoil a portion of a future episode of the Gooncast. In Bruges might be in my top 10 favorite movies of all time.
Oh, shit. Awesome.
Banshees. It's one of those things of like quality versus favoritism.
Sure.
I think In Bruges is still my favorite.
Yeah.
Banshees is the best film he's ever done.
Yeah.
I think Banshees is absolutely.
I can agree with that. Like,
and I will say that like I think every one of his movies, like he has not released a dud yet.
Yeah.
In my opinion, like Lee, I know you. I think you mentioned not having seen Three Billboards yet, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So, like, you should definitely watch that because while I don't think it's as good as Banshees, like,
it's really fucking solid.
Oh, it's got Sam Rockwell. I'm already sold.
Yeah, it's Sam Rockwell. Frances McDormand fucking kills it. Oh my
god,
she is so good. I was actually joking the other day after we did the Banshees Zach Bagans double feature that for this upcoming watch party, since I'm trying to make watch parties a semi-regular occurrence, like, just a group watch party of just anybody in the Discord or whatever. This Friday might be In Bruges followed by Zach Bagans. So it's like, let's keep the Martin McDonagh suffering train going, baby.
I'll be there for fucking In Bruges.
Yeah, but, I haven't seen In Bruges in a long time, and I should.
There's just so many quotable moments from it. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, I definitely think Banshees is probably the better movie, and it's fantastic. But In Bruges, for me, it's just so fucking funny, despite being really, really tragic. Like, Banshees is very funny too, but like, there's so many very quotable moments, like just like Ray Fiennes banging on the phone, and his wife comes and is like,
God, yes.
Harry, it's an inanimate fucking object. You're an inanimate fucking object. And he's like, honey, I'm sorry for calling you an inanimate fucking object. It's so good.
I retract that bit about your cunt kids, mate.
That's going overboard, mate.
That's going overboard, mate.
Or it's like, oh, you lot ain't going up there. Well, what do you mean? Oh, the stairs are all windy. Well, what do you mean? You're a bunch of fucking elephants.
Bunch of fucking elephants.
And just even the stupid insanity of just Ralph Fiennes and Colin Farrell in the standoff in the hotel hallway, but they don't want to fuck up the nice lady's hotel especially because she's pregnant, and they're like having the discussion about like where to go, and it's just so fucking insane and silly and perfect.
Mm-hmm.
He
absolutely.
He has such a strength as a screenwriter, and it's apparent that, you know, from his formatting and his pacing, you can tell he was a stage writer. He was,
yes,
absolutely.
It's apparent.
100%.
The way I feel about his writing is the way I felt when my mom gave me a copy of Station 11 by Emily St. John Mandel and said, "You need to read this. This is the kind of writing that makes me never want to try and publish anything ever again." And I'm like, oh, that's high praise. Yeah. And then I watched something like Banshees, and once I realized, like halfway through, Kat, I mentioned to you like the tightness of the screenplay. Yes. And I'm like, yeah, this makes me not want to try.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good, and you appreciate it and you love it, but it also makes you mad because it's so fucking good.
Yeah, the Pillowman just like I am so glad that I was fortunate enough to be introduced to him like in my formative years as a, you know, like as a teenager, basically, because I'm like, oh man, if this was today, I would be like, fuck.
There's this band. There's this 4-piece instrumental progressive band called Polyphia. They're getting really big because of an album they just put out. And the lead songwriter and guitar player, Tim Hansen, he's making a lot of waves in the guitar community for this now like running joke of he's just so good he makes guitar players want to quit. So like how there's reaction videos where people like, you know, put on their headphones and okay, we're gonna listen to the new Polyphia track playing God, and then like, you know, 3 minutes of exaggerated expressions. There's a trend of them of just guitar players who like listen to it for like 20 seconds and nod and then just like reach for their guitars and put them in the garbage. Because they're just like, I'm done. Tim peaked. We can't beat it.
Mm-hmm. That's hilarious.
That's funny.
So yeah, I guess
glowing
thoughts on Banshees of Inisherin?
I don't want to go too in depth because it may be a spoiler for a future upcoming Gooncast. But I fucking love this movie, and I highly, 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 highly recommend it.
Yep.
Just know it's a feels bad movie. You're gonna feel like shit, and I'm sure you're gonna hear me if you sat all the way through here and you've heard us talk about it. You've heard spoilers, but I'm sure you're gonna be like, all right, it's a feels bad movie. How bad can it be? You're gonna feel like shit. I can't really stress that enough.
Grab a blankie and a 6-pack, okay?
Yes.
Like you will not believe how
some comfort food, like
some Blue Box mac and cheese.
You will not believe how sad you'll feel. Like the first time I fucking watched it with you two, I went through a shit ton of whiskey in it during it because it was just making me feel like shit. And then when we
I know, I could tell because we were trying to talk to you afterwards, and like I kept saying things and you would just keep talking, and I was like, I don't know what's happening here. And then you were like, I'm very drunk. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, it was. And then afterwards, like with the second watch party, I was stone sober the entire time. And at the end of it, Lou was like, yeah, about 20 minutes in, I cracked open my own booze. I couldn't handle it. And Grady was just like, I have to be at a children's birthday party tomorrow, so I decided not to drink tonight, and I really regret that I didn't drink tonight.
Yeah.
It's a depressing, haunting movie, but I fucking adore it.
Yeah, it's also not something that like it's not a tearjerker, right? It will not make you cry. It will just make you sit in depression.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no release for it, right?
That's the point that needs to be driven home here. You won't be crying at the credits. You will be empty.
Yes.
You will be devoid of any light, any happiness, and any joy is ripped out of your fucking body.
If you think that my summary just kind of ended, yes.
I frequently...
there's a reason for that.
I frequently...
It feels like, oh no.
I frequently use the "I'm dead inside" from Jay Bauman on my stream, and that is the perfect summary of the experience of ending this movie. But not because, something's horrible in the world, I want everything to be gone, but just, I'm reminded of when our buddy, Ghoul Guts and my buddy Maverick, saw the ending to Silent Hill Shattered Memories, the Good Dad ending, and we asked him what he thought, and the entire time we were playing the game, he was cracking jokes, but at the ending afterwards, he was just like, I kind of want to curl up in a ball and go to sleep forever, and that kind of sums up the ending of Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah, it's my favorite line from the Hell Priest in Hellraiser. I am so exquisitely empty. Just like, there's nothing but a big gaping hole of sadness.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah, it's...
I say, for my closing thoughts, it's one of the best movies of the year. Be prepared going in. We are not exaggerating about any of it. Make sure that when you're done, you have a phone nearby so that you can call someone you care about, just to let them know that you're still there.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Just give a friend a call and just let them know you're still their friend. And that you're not drifting away from them.
Yeah, or that you're going to burn their house down.
Or that you're going to burn their house down.
Yes. Oh, man. All right. Yeah. So, let's
shake that off.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, even just I watched the movie again a couple hours ago, and I was sitting for a good hour afterwards, just in my thoughts, being very depressed, and even thinking about it again, I'm like, oh, yeah. But it's really good, y'all. Go watch it. So now, I think we are going to finish off with what we have been up to since our last pod.
Car boss battles.
Tiny bit of a loaded prompt.
Car boss battles.
It is. So I think first of all, before we get into the one that we all share, does anyone have any that they can just quickly be like, I saw this and it was fine. I can go first. I have one thing.
Okay, yeah.
So my thing is I saw Glass Onion very recently.
Ooh, I'm watching it tomorrow, so stay spoiler free.
Spoiler free, absolutely. I dug it a lot. I think it's not as good as Knives Out, but I think kind of what the world needs is more, quirky detective series. So it made me want to go back and rewatch all of my old Poirots, because I'm just hell yeah, I'm down for another detective solving mysteries with this kind of style going from movie to movie. I want more of these.
Hell yeah.
So
cool.
That's my review of Glass Onion. More.
Groovy. Let's see, over on my end, I am let's see. I'm gearing up to do something. I'm 90% sure I'll do it. We'll see if I actually commit. Being that we're going to be starting up Extra Life again to raise money for the kids. I'm going to be doing a Valley Jester Get Good marathon of playing a type of game that I am a gigantic fan of and that I am awful at, which are Metroidvanias.
Oh my god.
So, but of course the gimmick will be that I won't be playing any Castlevanias or any Metroids, because those are two of the ones that I am actually decent at. So we can't do that, because I've just got to be booty at everything.
Excellent.
So it's gonna be my Elite Four lineup of Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, Blasphemous, Ender Lilies, and then the final boss, the champion of the Indigo Plateau, Hollow Knight.
Oh Lord.
So
Lordy
Good
Lord.
luck, man.
I will be playing the four of those. almost entirely blind. Bloodstained, I started and got like an hour or so in and really, really dug it. The other 3 I haven't touched, which, yeah, I haven't played Hollow Knight yet, so that's going to be super exciting.
Neither have I.
Hell yeah.
So I'll be diving into that.
I've heard it's hard. That's the thing I've heard about
that
it.
Is,
so.
yeah, hence the get good aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I've also been going on a deep dive of a YouTube series that I absolutely love, but I've been watching it for years, but I found one of those YouTube playlists that has every episode in chronological order. So I said, fuck it, and I went back. I am binging every episode of OSW, which is the old school wrestling podcast. It's 3 chuckle fucks from Ireland who chronologically critique wrestling pay-per-views by storyline. And so they'll pick out an era of wrestling history. So it could be like Hulkamania. And then they'll do every pay-per-view during the stardom years of Hulk Hogan as the champion of the WWF. And they are just these motherfuckers are so funny. They're like right in my wheelhouse of humor. They've got like a psychotic fan base that like tattoos themselves with the OSW logo so that you can get a guest spot on the podcast to just tell them like who your favorite jobbers are. They have a gimmick called the Boys Stable, where it's like, who's your stable of wrestlers, but like not the ones that you keep in the good barn. They're the ones that you keep in like the shitty stable that you don't really like let anyone see. So it's like all your favorite shit tier wrestlers.
Beautiful.
So I've been going through that chronologically. That's a great one.
Nice.
And then just jam into a bunch of music, which I don't want to get too much into because I have whittled down my album of the year, and I will talk about it on our Golden Rockos Part 2, Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've left out a couple of things because those things made it onto my Golden Rockos list. So I'm like, nope, not talking about those yet. But Glass Onion was good. Not one of my favorite things of the year, though.
Yarp.
No.
And that's about the size of it. So yeah, Jam.
I don't really have anything super major outside of I extended my participation in last year's Extra Life until the end of the year, and collectively we raised a total of $4,610.33 for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. I believe 2021 we raised about 3,000, so like we've raised about 1,600 more, which is fucking awesome. Congratulations to everybody.
Thank you to everyone who participated and everyone who donated. Like, y'all did awesome.
And I've decided to basically start my participation in Extra Life this year immediately, and I'm just gonna keep it open for the entire year because it's why not? You know, if it's a year-round thing, might as well just always have it active on my page and whatnot, and like it can potentially be less of a strain, especially because like game day is typically like right at the start of the holiday season, which is a very expensive time of the year for some people, so they may not necessarily be able to donate, and they may feel better about donating earlier in the year or whatever. Like, it's for a good cause, so I figured, fuck it, let's just do it all year round. And then outside of that, just besides generic stream shit, Kat and I went through the Dark Pictures anthology, The Devil in Me.
Oh yeah, it was not good.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Wait, did you finish this piece of shit?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I can talk about the thing now.
Okay. What thing?
Oh, because I was talking to you guys about it before you started, and I said it has the one decision in any of these games that instantly made me think it was the shittiest thing ever made.
Oh, what?
Okay, so you finished, right?
Yeah.
No, we're done. We're done.
Awesome. Okay, did you get to the fucking part where you had to make a decision about the dog?
Yes.
What was your choice?
I did not throw a rock at the dog. Why the fuck would I? That's awful.
Are you talking about the stab the dog?
When you go into the house and you find the dog and you have to stop it from making noise.
Yeah, I did not stab the dog.
Okay. And then you got a character killed because of it.
No, because at that point we had everybody killed except for 2 people left.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, so when I watched a playthrough of that, and it's a part of the game that a bunch of people have given out about. So you go into the house and the dog is trapped there. Your instincts are okay. Like release the dog because like Resident Evil 4 logic kicks in of like help dog, help later.
Yes, exactly. And that literally happened in Until Dawn.
So if you let dog out and then hide with dog and dog starts barking and gives away your position, your choices become murder the dog or the killer kills one of your party.
Oh.
So you are immediately punished for your compassion and for defying what should be strict video game logic of help dog, help later.
Evil.
It's the shittiest decision I've ever seen in one of those games.
Oh my god.
Because if you do it, the amount of time, like in real time that lapses is like less than 60 seconds. Help dog get free, hide with dog, kill dog in like 45 seconds.
Yes. That was
and then one of your team gets off. I'm like, wow, I can't wait for the goons to get to that part.
Well, we didn't. We saved the dog.
we saved the dog, and because it was literally, I think it was just my character in the room. It was Little Miss Plot Armor.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. If you make it there with her and one other, that other one gets offed.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Glorious.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm glad you had as much fun with it as I knew you would.
Yeah. It was. I almost don't want to shit on it that much because it's very clear that this is the result of an incredibly rushed dev cycle.
Yes.
Like it is easily their buggiest game, and it is also probably one of their worst, and it's because it came out like 4 months after fucking Quarry shipped.
Yeah,
it
felt very rushed, and trying to take into consideration the fact that they're working on the Quarry, they're still working in the middle of a pandemic, and they have some PSVR 2 title set to come out in fucking February. Like, they seem pretty stretched thin.
Yeah.
And it seems there's a lot of incomplete elements to this as well.
I am mad at their management team and their studio for forcing them to do this kind of bullshit.
Yeah.
But all that being said, yeah, it was a shitty game. Like,
what was worse, this one or Little Hope?
Little Hope.
Little Hope.
I don't even have to think about it.
No hesitation.
Because here's also the way my brain works, Lee.
No.
I'm saying it because there was one thing that elevated it. Like even if it didn't have this thing, I would have liked it more than Little Hope. I'm torn about if I like this more or less than Man of Medan because I don't like Man of Medan nearly as much as I used to. But we have been waiting for years at this point for them to do a different fucking cover of Oh Death. Like our expectation was. Each game is going to have a different rendition of Oh Death, and instead, it's the same fucking shitty butt rock version. And then we get to the credits, and it's a Mannequin Barbershop Quartet cover of Oh Death.
Okay, I did see that.
And I am big dumb simple man.
James and I were literally like shit. Like we were like this game fucking sucked, and then that started up, and I was like. Okay.
All right, hold on a minute. But yeah, that elevated it, and I will say, it didn't get captured on stream because my fucking internet decided to shit out right at the tail end of the credits, which is great. But I was kind of like, man, God, this fucking franchise, like they had one good game and it's mostly been shit. I don't know if I could stick it out for season 2. And I see the teaser for season 2, and it's set in space, and I'm like, all right, you fucks, you got me back again.
I know, like, that's the thing, they keep having very interesting premises, and you're just like, ooh, I just want to see, I just want a little peek.
Yeah, and I mean...
Sorry, Lee, you were saying, you're trying to get a...
No, I wasn't trying to say anything.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, and it's at the very least, I'll probably even with me being pissed off and burnt out on it, it's a fun it's a fun game to co-op on stream and bitch about and complain about and see the stupid nonsense that goes down. So I think I'll probably stick it out for the franchise.
Oh yeah. I mean, they're definitely. I prefer them to what's their faces? The like Way Out team. I prefer them to those co-op.
Yeah, I don't know the name of that dev team.
Yeah, but the Ferris.
Yeah. Like I haven't even played It Takes Two. I heard mixed things about it. I know a lot of people loved it.
I played it with Will. It was fun to play together, but it's kind of an everything in the kitchen sink game that overstays its welcome, where it's just like there's a lot of stuff happening. It's all done competently, like nothing is poorly implemented or whatever, but like, it eventually gets to like a point where I'm like, why are we like this game felt like it was coming to the end and then suddenly decided to go on for like another like 40 minutes.
Checks out.
You need to play a game that's really made to bring couples together. Mario Party.
Yes.
There you go.
Risk.
Yes. Oh.
Monopoly.
An 8-hour Risk campaign.
Yeah, there you go.
Fantastic.
If you can survive that with your significant other, you can survive anything.
Oh,
but let's talk about the piece of shit that we all played.
Oh my god.
Car battles. Yandere Trainer.
All right, so we played the new Pokemon.
We did. We didn't. None of us wanted to do a podcast on it.
No, hell no.
Because there's not enough there. But we can all safely say we played them.
Yeah.
Lee and I did Violet. James did Scarlet.
I to preface this is like my first Pokemon game since like, I don't know, Soul Silver, like that I did to completion anyway, or at least that I remember. Apparently I fucking played like 30 hours of Black, but I never beat it and I don't fucking remember anything about that. What a giant piece of shit. It is.
There's no dancing around it.
Yeah.
So I completed the Pokedex the way I always complete the Pokedex, which is not just having entries for every single Pokemon, but an actual living representation in the boxes. Fucking 400 strong, baby.
Oh, nice. That's what Chris is doing right now.
Yeah. And then I shut the game off for all time.
Yeah. I am a sucker for this game's formula. When Game Freak and Nintendo get into that development cycle and they start making a new Pokemon game and they don't take risks because they know they don't need to.
Yes.
I'm the kind of dumbass who will still get the game.
Yes, me too.
Now, in this case, Saber got it for me to push the suffering onto my plate.
Oh.
Well, I mean, Kat had it, I had it. I figured we should all talk about it. Eat shit.
It's true. Yeah. Oh god.
Yeah, so Merry Christmas to me.
Yeah.
Thank you, Saber.
Yeah.
So I'm a sucker for the formula. I'll get it. But that being said, that formula aside, what an uninspired, buggy, fucking train wreck. Okay, here's my issue. Dropped the ball on one of the biggest what ifs in video games so far. Mm-hmm. What if we had an open world Pokemon game?
Yep.
And they explored some ideas in Legends Arceus. They flirted with the idea.
So, here's the thing. I've been playing Pokemon games since time immemorial, basically. I think the only ones I haven't played are Black and White, or Black and White 2, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I played Arceus. And Arceus had a lot of problems, right?
Mm-hmm.
But at its core, the quality of life improvements it had, like basically my review of it to people who asked was, I can't wait for them to make a mainline game like this. Because basically if you take the like the bones of Arceus and just actually put the work in to make a compelling story and, like the full decks and full things to do, it would be brilliant. And then fucking Violet and Scarlet just walked back so many things that Arceus improved on.
Yep. Yeah.
And to me, I'm like, Arceus was the risk taken already to say, yes, people want this kind of stuff. And then instead of pushing forward with that and being like, let's keep making it interesting, they just there was a fucking Dark Souls boss fight in fucking Arceus. Multiple, in fact. And they were cool.
I think the thing that it's become very, very, very apparent, if it wasn't already, and this is very apparent to me, despite not playing these games in fucking years, is that their 2-year mandated dev cycle needs to fucking go.
Yes.
They either need additional dev assistance from additional studios that Nintendo owns, which I know Nintendo is capable of doing because Smash Bros. Has additional dev assistance, or an additional dev who works on the next title, a la Call of Duty, if they're going to be forced into, we have to have a mainline game.
Yes, have the Infinity Ward Treyarch kind
of
dynamic.
Or worst fucking case scenario, strip the fucking franchise from Game Freak and give it to somebody else.
That's my big one.
Because
someone other than Game Freak.
Because I don't want to shit on the. I don't like shitting on stuff that often, contrary to me being a big shitty baby with Resident Evil Netflix.
Contrary to this entire podcast.
Yeah, but it is. A lot of people were ragging on the game's visuals, and it's yeah, it looks like a Wii U game, but for me, I don't care so long as the art direction is solid. This game is shitty art direction, dude. And considering how it's not even all that graphically impressive, it is fucking inexcusable at how fucking badly optimized it is for the Switch. I know the Switch is an old piece of tech, and even when it came out, it was an old piece of tech. But this is fucking inexcusable that in docked mode, it is running sub 20 frames a second. The amount of pop-in that happens in this fucking game.
I'll phrase it like this. We should have known that they lacked vision when we saw their draw distance.
Oh,
bazinga. And just, that's not even getting into just shitty design decisions. This is possibly the worst map I've ever seen. What is the fucking point of me zooming out of the map
to the worst map?
I'll zoom out of the map and I go, okay, I want to zoom in on this section, and I zoom in and it just warps me back to where I am, and it's that's not what I want to do. That's not what I want to do. And the fucking the way the raids are set up, excluding the bugs, raids are fucking trash, dude. They're so fucking frustrating and awful, and just the fucking stupid sandwich system with the worst fucking sandwich eating animation I've ever goddamn seen. I'm not expecting much. It would have been better if it just said, oh, you ate a sandwich. I don't need to fucking see this 30-second long, awful, stupid cinematic. Man, what the fuck?
I want to play devil's advocate and say 2 positives. And these are the only 2 positives I've got.
Is it Tommy Mommy and Giga Chad Professor?
Partially. There are some very, very strong character designs.
Sure.
I think most...
Oh, absolutely, yes.
I think most of the new gym leaders are fantastic additions to the Pantheon. I think the professors are great. I don't like the companions. I don't like Nimona. I really don't like Arven.
They suck.
But a lot of the instructors, great designs. Some of Team Star are pretty good. But I think just the gym leader designs. Okay.
I specifically went back to school because you can do lessons at school, which do absolutely nothing. But I went because I was like, I want to befriend every teacher.
I want to get to know Dendra because Dendra's a badass.
Oh my god, Dendra was my favorite.
Yeah, Dendra is best girl.
Please, yes, she's awesome.
And secondly, they made a step in the right direction, not perfectly, but a step in the right direction with the designs of new Pokemon. We got into a dark fucking age of creative bankruptcy with like the penguin whose head is an ice cube, and the bag of garbage.
Dex, actually.
Whose ass is in this? And then I looked at the lineup of starters, and I'm like, okay, we got Josuke the Duck. I'll take it. We've got this. We've got a cat that wears a mask. And I saw it, and I said, this thing better be called Meowscarade. And it was called Meowscarada, and I said, let's fucking go. And then what's the third one? Derpy Lizard.
Yep.
And okay, does the lizard get like more serious and less derpy? And that's like, he gets a little more serious, but he's still really derpy. I'm like, yes, let's go.
I picked the duck as my starter, and I really regretted it. No, I picked the cat. I picked the cat as my starter. I forgot. Greedy picked the duck, and I saw it through Greedy's stream, and it was awful because that fucking stupid duck is just shaking its ass and wiggling its titties all the fucking time, and it's like, this is awful.
Forever.
What the fuck is who? Why? Who hurt you, Game Freak? Why? Why would you do this to me? And Nemona sucks.
So the Mon designs went back in a good direction. Character designs, like 80% of them on point.
Yes.
Everything else is a fucking inexcusable mess.
The one thing that you didn't mention that I will say that I kind of enjoy is just
quest design.
Let
me get to it.
When you fully upgraded your stupid Pokemon motorcycle, traversal can be mildly fun.
I'm sorry. Pokemon motorcycle.
Except
Violet got that.
Yeah.
What did you get in Scarlet, Jay?
I got a motorcycle that doesn't work and it just runs around.
Yep.
Why?
You got a lizard with a spare tire.
Who?
Will was so mad.
Who? Like, to give you also an idea on how fucking out of the loop I was, like, I bought this on a whim because I was like, you know what, it's the new hotness. This could be fun to stream post back to Ghoul. It looks terrible, so I could have, like, some fun, like, dunking on it. And I knew that, like, oh, this game has 2 professors. That's cool. And then I find out that they're version-exclusive professors. And I'm like, what? That's annoying. Because, like, I wanted to get Violet because I usually just go with color preference. Like, I got blue because blue. I love the color blue. I got silver because I prefer it to gold. And I prefer Violet to Scarlet. But everybody had Violet. And I was like, well, I guess I'll get the one with the Dommy Mommy Cave Woman. And the narrative doesn't make any goddamn sense because it's like, okay, this Arven has 2 fucking parents. One is in the future and one is in the past. and they're not ever mentioned. Like, I get that, like, you're not supposed to, like, the narrative, but the narrative in these games is supposed to be at least semi-consistent per game, right?
Actually, they are mentioned in one of the notebooks you find during like the descent.
Oh, no wonder I didn't. I ain't reading any of that shit. By the end of the game,
Elden Ring.
James, you have to collect this shit like Elden Ring.
I was so mad at this game's narrative, but that by the end of the fucking game, I was just like, no, I'm not giving this any more thought. Like,
the thing is, I think that the narrative actually becomes, I won't even say competent, the mildest bit compelling in the post game.
Okay.
That's the only part that I was actually kind of like, oh, I'm interested to see where this goes. What happens here? Like, you know, fighting the fucking robot dad and stuff like that.
Oh god.
It was far too little, far too late.
Yeah.
Like,
but it was better than everything else quest design wise. I enjoy the fact that you could do the gyms in any order, like, you know, barring skill, like, you know, some sort of, like, you know, skill barriers. Yeah. That was cool. That was cool that you could kind of just like go off in any direction. The extra quests with the like Team Star was a fucking waste.
Team Star fucking sucks.
Like, it was just like, I feel, and again, a lot of this is just, the dev cycle being way too fucking short. But like the Team Star shit, for instance, I get what they were going for, right? Like I get that, like it was like, oh, this is an interesting take on the rivals team, right? Where it's like, oh, they're actually not bad people, they were bullied kids that
Okay, let me.
But the thing is, every single fucking quest starts with cutscene where the fucking principal fucking pretends to be a fucking douchebag kid. You get a phone call from the mysterious person who hired you for this, who then like expresses lament about the person you're about to beat down, and then says, never mind, go in there and beat them up.
Yeah.
You go in, do this overworld, just like chuck your Pokemon at their Pokemon until they faint.
God damn, that thing sucks so fucking hard.
And then you fight a car, and then when you beat the fucking car,
an actual car.
Yeah, and then when you beat the fucking car, you get another cutscene that's literally just almost word for word the same as every other cutscene that happens after these fucking Team Rocket knockoff bullshit quests. Except that there's like one line difference that's like, they were bullied because of X. And I'm like, I have to do this 5 times?
Yeah, it is so...
I have to do this 5 times.
I need to give out about this. This is an issue I've got with the creative direction of the games and their narratives in general.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that maybe this is a conscious decision they're trying to do because it's happened 3 fucking times now. But we're allowed to have villains, right? Because so far, the last 3 organizations we've faced have been Team Star, who are misunderstood, Team Yell, who are fanboys, and Team Skull, who are orphans. The last 3 teams we've had are all either just like misunderstood or just like outcasts. I'm sorry. Back in my day, I fought the Mafia.
Yeah. You were eating Pokemon.
You were eating motherfuckers. I'm sorry. My boy Cyrus, whose evil plan was go to hell and catch the devil. And then you go fight him and beat the devil. I'm like, yo, this is what I'm talking about. And then Lissandra, who's like, my hair is silly and I'm going to make a Doom laser. It's like, all right. Lissandra,
that's fine.
You sit down.
Like,
yeah.
I started my playthrough on stream and I was giving everybody like silly, stupid ass voices. Because I was taking the piss out of this fucking game so hard. It's basically like a one-man corpse party shit, right?
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
And like I gave like Nimona like the like as creepy of it like a yandere voice as I could.
Oh,
and I think it was like
appropriate.
I think it was midway through my 3rd session. I just stopped giving a shit and just mashed through every fucking story section. You can't walk like there were instances where it's like, okay, I'm off stream now, I'm gonna go farm, and then I go try to farm and I take 5 steps and a story cinematic happens. Like, are you fucking kidding me, my dude?
Don't you care about Arvin's dying dog?
Oh my god.
I do, but only because of the fact that it gave me my very stupid joke that I'm very happy with, where I turned Mabostiff to Mabalstiff. And
also, I will say since those quests gave you an upgraded motorcycle, the traversal in Arceus was better.
Okay, I didn't play Arceus. Period. I'll get there eventually.
That's one of the things that bothered me like a ton about it. Was I was just like, are you serious that like I literally cannot like when I'm gliding, I can't unglide and then reglide. Like I can only
that was awful.
And then I just fall. Like Arceus didn't do that.
Also, on just the note of shit that I hate, I hate fucking Team Star, but I can, and I hate a fair amount of their designs, and I hate their stupid car boss battles, and I fucking hate Nimona, and I fucking hate the VTuber gym leader, and I fucking hate the influencer gym leader, but Atticus from Team Star needs to be fucking buried in a fucking cave, and then it needs to be cemented over unironically maladying people. Eat fucking shit, get a fucking haircut, you fucking dweeb. I'm glad he got bullied. Fuck that. Fuck him. I am so...
Don't you like his Naruto cosplay?
No!
Purple cum.
It's fucking Jesus Christ. Like, what the fuck is this shit? And the principal of the school is like, oh, well, you mean, you know, like, they haven't attended school in a year. You know, if they don't come back to school, they're gonna get expelled. You need to shape them into whatever. Motherfucker, just expel them, alright? I get it that they're fucking bullied. Kick out the fucking bullies of your school.
Yeah.
Expel them! Why the fuck is a 12-year-old doing this? In Pokemon Blue, like, you kind of accidentally stumble upon and stop the Mafia. I'm not being tasked with somebody to stop fucking Team Rocket. I'm doing it of my own accord because I want to have fucking fun Pokemon adventures.
Exactly. That's the thing. It's like, even though like the original games were like, I mean, they're linear, right?
Yeah.
For the most part. Like, they're extremely linear games. It never felt like you were getting tasked to do every single thing in every single step of the game. And that's what this felt like. Yeah. It's like, they give you this open world, but then they keep being, like, all the characters keep being like, go do this thing, go do this thing. And it's like, why not just let me go?
Yeah.
Have one person say, do the gyms or whatever, and then just, like, let me go.
Here's the beautiful thing. For those of you out there who watched, or rather listened to, our episode of our 10 favorite games of all time, Pokemon Gold and Silver was on my list. Now, you can look at certain things, like a can of Amp energy drink, that's from your past and holds a special, something. And maybe you go back and you try it, and it's just not as cool as you remember. And then they made the brilliant decision to re-release Gold and Silver, and they were still fucking great. It wasn't like lightning in a bottle they couldn't capture again. No, they knew what they were doing. They had a fantastic formula.
Yeah.
Just do that shit.
Yeah.
But open world. It's not difficult. I still hold to this day, Pokemon Gold and Silver has the best boss battle, the best final boss battle in all of gaming history.
Yeah.
It's up there.
It's really good.
It is by far my favorite.
And, like, I will also say that, like, if they wanted to do open world stuff, I think they should have hewn a little bit closer to their traditional overworld designs. You know? I think, because, okay, sure, open worlds, great. We love them, right? A bad open world, though, stinks.
It's a slog to get through.
It just stinks. You have no landmarks. You have nothing but like generated, like, random landscapes. And it's just literally, I would just pick a direction and go.
Rolling fields of nothing.
Yeah, instead of finding anything, it would just be like, here's another mountain. Like, looking for anything in this game was just like a lesson in mediocrity. Where it was just like,
the world is so visually bland.
It's so visually, and the thing is, like, even the cities, they got wrong. And that didn't need to be the case, because it's just like, all you needed to do was make everything smaller. You know, we do not need an insane, like a huge open world that's like GTA levels. If you're not gonna do GTA level detail, right? Like, make a small concentrated, God, if your cities are just 4 buildings, but they're 4 buildings where I can go inside and unique things happen in each of those 4 buildings, do you know how much fucking happier I would be than going to another one of these fucking cities where there's 50 buildings and I can go into one of them? I'm like, and it's the fucking gym, you know?
Yeah, I miss the days where you could just roll into people's houses,
yeah,
steal their shit.
Yep.
Even if the conversations in them were dumb, At least they were cool. Like you rob, you bust into somebody's house, and there's like an old lady, and it's just like, oh, is she gonna give me a TM, or is she gonna like want to trade something for a really rare Pokemon? And she just babbles something like, my husband's legs don't work, so Arma Choke carries him everywhere. And that's it. And I go, yeah, lady, live your best life.
Yeah, and then you leave.
I miss going to a gym and fighting fucking other trainers and not having to roll a fucking olive around outside or go fucking snowboard kids or whatever fucking play DDR.
Oh my god. The DDR was the worst.
Go to the fucking counter. Yeah, I'd like to sign up for the gym battle. Like, where are the other trainers I have to fight? They're just like, I don't know, just can you roll this cigarette for our gym leader? What?
And why does the water gym dude take a Voer photo with you?
Excuse me?
He poses. You heard me. Don't you remember the fucking photo where he's you're sitting there and it's like a distance photo to make it look like he's standing on your hand and your mouth is open as if you're about to fucking eat him?
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember that. The only photo I remember was the one where your fucking bike is smiling at the camera, and it's the most horrifying thing I've ever seen.
I think I took a screenshot of the Vor photo. I'll send it to you later, Kat, because it made me very mad. And it's terrible. Thanks. It's terrible. And
exactly what I want.
Oh, yeah, to amend my previous statement, when I said most of the new gym leader designs were fucking fantastic, I don't mean him.
Yeah.
He's not on that list.
I hope you don't mean the VTuber.
I liked that her hair buns were Magnemites.
That was cool, but yeah.
But no, what I'm really talking about, let's fuck everybody else. It's the snowboarding cute boy, and it's the dead in the eyes salary man.
Yes,
Larry. Absolute killers.
Dead in the eyes salary man. I'll definitely give you. I like him a lot. Yeah. I was very disappointed that it turns like I thought there was going to be some cute little thing with the Elite Four where they're like, oh god, I gotta bitch about that too. But they make you take a fucking test before you can fight the fucking Elite Four. And one of the fucking questions is, which gym leader did you struggle with the most? And I thought this was going to be a cute little thing of whichever gym leader you struggled with the most is going to be the one you have to fight in the Elite Four. No, fuck you. It's salary man again because fuck you.
I know.
But I cannot stress how much I fucking hate that fucking test because they asked me one of the early questions, why do you want to be a Pokemon trainer? Or why do you want to fight the Elite Four? And I was like, oh, one of the options is because for fun. I'll pick that. I picked the honest answer. I'm playing this for fun. Yep. And I fail, and I get kicked out of the fucking gym, Elite Four, and I have to redo the test. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? And that was like my pure breaking point of like, because I was not enjoying the game, but I was like trying to have some fun with it. But at that point where it's like, you're going to fail me from fighting the Elite Four because I said I want to have fun? Well, fun is the wrong answer? Eat a dick, Game Freak.
I think the standards for the Elite Four dropped over the years, because, like, look back at Red and Blue. The Elite Four was, like, this scholarly genius Lorelei, this superhuman steroid machine.
And now we have a literal 3-year-old.
A literal fucking witch, Agatha, and Edgelord Dragon Master Lance, and now you've got a 5-year-old child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you've got a little girl who like bumbled her way into the Elite Four.
I find this, god damn it, man. Fuck this game. I'm happy if you dig it. If you're one of the many millions of people who bought this game and you love it, I'm happy. But Game Freak, fucking do better, dude.
Yeah. If like, this is your favorite, then good for you. I'm glad.
Like, do not fucking put out a buggy piece of shit again. For fuck's sake.
Yeah. But it already outsold God. So
yeah, it did. Yeah. But Nintendo did have to apologize for the game.
That's true. That's true.
Look, you can fix everything, Nintendo. Just release a patch to fix the issues that you know are in it. And make like a dating sim with Cynthia. And we're square, okay?
I really do just think that if they make a more focused game, like a more focused game in this style, I think would have been fine.
Yeah.
I think you cut most of the side quests. You focus on like, hey, let's say it's not 8 gyms this time. It's like you do the school tournament arc thing from anime, right?
Yeah.
Like your school is one of the schools and you're going up against all other schools.
Oh, that's fucking good.
Right? It's like why set it in a school and then not use that setting at all?
Because fuck you.
Yo, the starter you pick determines your school. There's a fire school, a grass school, and a water school.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Oh, come
Hire
on
us,
now.
Nintendo.
One's in a forest, one's on the beach, one's on like a volcano. It's just Mount Gelmir.
yeah, exactly.
Your headmaster's Rykard. Come on. Let's go.
God damn it, man.
Use fire types with family.
Fuck this game.
What a piece
exactly.
of shit.
But like something more focused. You could still do open world, you could still experiment, but like actually design your open world, first of all.
Put stuff in it.
Make it visually interesting and fun to explore, because like I have problems with Elden Ring, but at least it's visually interesting and fun to explore.
Give me actual landmarks or important things to like orient myself in the space to. Like Pokemon designs, I agree. I thought they were great. I thought they were fun. There were some really cool new guys.
The little fairy with the hammer made out of dead birds. Awesome.
Oh, she was so good. I loved her. But yeah, it's like I'm thinking because Arceus came out like last year, right?
Yeah, it came out. No, it came out in January. It was double Pokemon games.
Oh god.
In 2022.
Well, that's probably why it's like probably 2 different teams entirely, and the Scarlet Violet team had like no idea what fucking Arceus was doing.
Jesus Christ, I didn't even realize. Yeah, it was January
I didn't realize that
22.
Either.
Oh
yeah,
my god.
That's fucking wild. But like that's the thing. It's like you don't do that to your teams. Don't do that to your teams and to your audience. I know that your franchise just shits money, but like there's so many more interesting things you could do if you just like, God, just give it to more teams. Give like extend, like let Game Freak have your mainline games and like give them an extended, like an extension, and then just hire like 2 different studios to also make Pokemon games.
There you go.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, who cares? Just fucking you guys. Literally, this franchise shits money. You can do that. Like,
yeah, like because this is. Like, I'm sure the next Pokemon game is gonna fucking sell like hotcakes because it's fucking
absolutely.
Pokemon game.
Yeah.
But I sincerely hope it sells a little bit less and people are a little fucking more wary about this shit. Because good fucking God. Like, the amount, like, look, making an open world game, it's fucking hard. Anybody who thinks otherwise is a fool who doesn't know game dev. And, like, yeah, there are going to be bugs. I expect some level of bugs with an open world game. It just, comes with the territory.
Absolutely.
But this is fucking unfinished. This is a fucking beta that got fucking shipped. This is fucking nonsense.
Yep.
$60. 120 if you're one of those people who bought the fucking double pack because you want both versions of the game. And like Nintendo normally puts out clean products. I can't really think of a major Nintendo product that has been this fucking buggy. I can't. Maybe there was, but I can't. And
off the
just
top of my head, I don't think so.
This is fucking inexcusable. Like, good God.
I mean, they've done some bad shit before.
Sure.
Other M was a fucking disaster.
Other M, I fucking hate Skyward Sword.
But it was finished.
It was finished.
Skyward Sword's a good example. But
like,
they were
again,
finished.
not a buggy mess, a finished game.
Yeah, this was not fucking finished. This was shot out the fucking door to meet some fucking...
Cook it longer.
This is shot out the fucking door to meet some fucking stupid ass sales deadline.
Get it out before Christmas.
Yeah. And not to mention, on the Christmas thing, they lock their fucking 7-star raids behind complete fucking end game.
Mm-hmm.
And that you have to grind out X amount of 4 and 5-star raids. Yeah. And then their first major raid is fucking Charizard. And it's right before Christmas, before anybody even... a lot of people are going to get the game for Christmas, presumably. Mm-hmm. What the fuck? Why is your raid window... Why is this FOMO bullshit? Get this FOMO, fear of missing out bullshit out of my fucking Pokemon game. Fuck this.
Yeah.
Ass!
So yeah, that's our opinion of the new Pokemon.
Yeah.
Welcome to our TED Talk on why Pokemon Scarvice sucks.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but and for the people who are like, oh, we shouldn't rag on it so much because it's a kids game. No, it's a multi-billion-dollar franchise. Fuck you.
And not to mention, raise your fucking standards, man.
Also,
Mario Odyssey is a kids game, and it's
also just because it's kids media doesn't mean it has to be shitty. Kids deserve better.
Kids deserve better.
The kids media thing. I was emotionally touched the day that Ash won the championship.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay? Our boy fucking did it.
Do you want another Balan Wonderworld? Because, it's just a kid's game is how we get another Balan Wonderworld.
Yeah.
That mentality needs to fucking die. And just get out, just have higher standards. Because even kids don't deserve a buggy-ass fucking game. Yuji Naka's in jail for fucking insider trading. It's fine. Can't harm me. He's in fucking jail. Can't harm me anymore.
He'll do it.
Yeah.
Balan is his stand.
Oh,
project it long range.
Fuka.
Oh my god.
Caesar.
I think Saber might be his stand, given how many copies of Balan Wonderworld he's sent out to people.
Yeah, and probably the reason why Balan keeps selling. But I mean, as I tell people, the only reason why I send so many copies is it's $10 on Amazon.
Oh my god.
So it's not like I'm spending full price on this. I think the amount of
Violet is 6 Balans.
Yeah.
Wow.
Think of it this way. Think of it this way, listeners. You can either buy a shitty, buggy Pokemon game, or you could buy 6 copies of Balan to send somebody that you want to punish. Which is funnier?
Well struck, goons.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Right. Yes, I think so. I have been Cat, aka the Attack Cat. I have no plans to stream soon, but I will probably get back to Nancy Drew and the cursive whatever at some point. And also at some point when the new Sherlock Holmes game releases, I will be streaming that first thing.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And this time without the bad Irish accent. This has been your boy Lee Alder, the Valley Jester. I will be back on Twitch sometime, possibly soon, twitch.tv/ValleyJester, doing the Metroidvania Get Good Elite 4 run. So stay tuned for that and help donate for the kids.
Beautiful. Yeah, Saber0307. Find me on Twitch there. Fuck Pokemon, go watch Banshees.
Yeah, fuck Pokemon.
Charizard's overrated.
He's alright. I mean, he's better than fucking Slut Duck.
Everything's better than Slut Duck.
Everybody get fucked. Bye.
Alright.